I'm from Sri Lanka. I am 26 years old and I'm a Buddhist. Now, and this is my first time sharing something online. Especially a story like this. It's about the creepiest thing that's ever happened to me. Back when I was in high school, I've wanted to write it down for years, but every time I tried, something got in the way. Well, here it goes. This happened when I was in grade 10 or 11. My younger brother and I shared a bed back then. He was in grade 6 or 7. Before I get into it, let me paint the picture. Our room faced the main Colombo Candy Road. The bed was shoved into a corner, headboard against the wall. At the foot of the bed, there was a tiny gap, maybe 2 feet, between us and a wardrobe pressed tight against the wall. On the other side was the door to the room. Right by the door sat an old iron table with one short leg, so if you bumped it, it'd wobble and make a loud sound because it couldn't stay steady. Okay, here's where it starts. That night, my brother and I climbed into bed around 9:30 or 10 o'clock. I couldn't sleep. It was hot and sticky, and I was restless. My brother, though, seemed to nod off fast. Through the curtain on our door, I could see the living room light still glowing. About 30 minutes after we got in bed, my mom, dad, and sisters turned off the lights and went to sleep too. I shut my eyes, but sleep wouldn't come. The heat, the sweat. It was brutal. I tried so hard to doze off, but no. Hours dragged by. Maybe 2 or 3, and I was still awake. By then, the road outside was completely quiet. Not a single car passing. Then, out of the blue, I heard it. Footsteps inside the house. Slow, steady steps, like someone in shoes, walking on the tiled floor, coming from the living room toward our room. No hurry, just calm, and getting louder, closer. My heart pounded. The sound stopped right at our door. I kept my eyes squeezed shut, too terrified to look, and pulled the sheet over my head like it'd protect me. For a bit, it was dead silent. Then, all of a sudden, the table in our room went as like something bumped it. Now I knew someone was there. Forget the heat. I was sweating from pure fear, shaking under the sheet. I wanted to peek, but I was petrified. Finally, I couldn't stand it. Acting like I was asleep, I slid the sheet down and cracked my eyes open just a bit. I couldn't believe it. A man was sitting on the table. He looked like he was dressed for a job interview. Long pants, a tucked-in long-sleeve shirt. His hair was kinda long, brushing his shoulders. With my eyes half open, I couldn't make out his face clearly, but there he was. One leg up on a chair, the other on the floor, hand on his hip, staring at our bed. I wanted to yell, but my voice was gone. I tried over and over. Nothing came out. I couldn't even turn to my brother. My body felt like a rock. Panicking, I shut my eyes again and yanked the sheet back over my head. I was trembling now, scared out of my mind. Minutes passed, maybe more, and I didn't hear a sound. My brother shifted in his sleep next to me, but that was it. I had to check again. Still pretending to be out cold, I eased the sheet down and peeked at the table. He was gone. I felt a flicker of relief, but then thought, where'd he go? I lowered the sheet more and glanced at the wardrobe by our feet. There he was, standing right at the edge of the bed, looking down at us. Tall, maybe 6 feet, dressed sharp like before. The wardrobe was 6 feet too, and he matched its height perfectly. Sweat drenched me, but I felt ice cold, stuck in place. My brother kept tossing around, clueless. I couldn't even nudge him. My arm wouldn't move. Desperate, I squeezed my eyes shut again, thinking, whatever happens, let it be. After a while, I forced myself to look. I tilted my head down, cracked my eyes, and checked the foot of the bed. He wasn't there. No sounds anywhere. I glanced at the table. Empty. My heart lightened a bit. Whoever he was, he's gone, I thought. Feeling safer, I fixed my pillow and looked up. That's when I saw something I'll never forget. Ever. Typing this now. My hands are shaking, my ears feel frozen. I told you our bed was right against the wall, with maybe an inch of space behind it. Nobody could fit there. But when I looked up, there he was. The same long-haired guy, perched on the headboard, leaning over me. His face so close to mine there couldn't have been more than a foot between us. That's all I remember. I think I blacked out. Next thing I knew, it was morning. My brother wasn't beside me. Still in bed, I tried to figure it out. What happened last night? Dream or real? I was dead sure it was real, but I tried telling myself it was a nightmare to calm down. My head throbbed, and I felt feverish. Groggy, I stumbled out of bed and into the living room. It was empty, but I heard my mom and brother chatting in the kitchen. I went to tell my mom what I'd seen, still half convincing myself it was fake. But what I heard in there turned my shaky fever into full-blown chills. My brother was telling my mom, last night some guy came into our room. He was by the table first. Then he went over to his elder brother in my language, sighed, and leaned right over his face. I shut my eyes. I was terrified. When I looked again, he was by the wardrobe. I turned away, too scared to scream, though I tried. Later, I peeked, and he was on the bed, leaning over his face, staring at him. I clamped my eyes shut and must have passed out. For a whole month after, we played Buddhist Pirith chants. It's like Christian prayers in our room non-stop. Nothing weird happened again. But get this, before that night, my older sister had told us something too. She said one afternoon while napping, someone grabbed her hair and pulled her off the bed, telling her to get down. We laughed, thinking she was joking. After this, though, we weren't so sure. Some might believe this is true. Others might say it's nonsense. Up to you. But I've still got questions that haunt me. How did he lean over me like that without falling? How could anyone fit in that tiny space behind the bed? What was that? For a long time after, I was terrified to sleep. Every time I climbed into bed, I'd lie there, heart racing, scared I'd see that man again, staring down at me in the dark. Now, the next story. I took a job as a test subject. I'm not sure I came back. They told me it was a psychological experiment. That was the only reason I agreed to it. I needed the money. And it sounded simple enough. Observe, report, document any changes in perception or cognition. 2 weeks in a controlled environment. A harmless study. The facility was a squat, gray building on the outskirts of town. The kind of place you'd never notice unless you were looking for it. The contract was thick, full of jargon and clauses that I skimmed over before signing. The woman who gave me the papers, Dr. Monroe, I think her name was, had a tight lip, smile that didn't quite reach her eyes. The process is completely safe, she assured me. You may experience some minor distortions in sensory perception, but that's expected. I didn't ask what she meant. I should have. They took my phone, my watch, anything that could track time. Then they led me to a small, windowless room with sterile white walls, a single bed, a desk, and a mirror bolted to the wall. I knew from past studies that the mirror was one-way glass. Someone was watching me. I told myself it didn't matter. For the first few hours, nothing happened. They gave me food, plain, flavorless, but edible. The lights never dimmed, so I had no real way of knowing when night fell. A voice over an intercom instructed me to document any changes in perception. I wrote, nothing yet. I don't know when I fell asleep. The next thing I remember is waking up to the sound of something moving in the room. I sat up, heart hammering, but I was alone. The door was still locked, the mirror reflecting my own wide-eyed face. I took a breath, told myself it was my imagination. Maybe I'd kicked the bed in my sleep. Then I saw it. My reflection hadn't moved. I was sitting upright, breathing heavily, but the me in the mirror was still lying down, eyes shut. I scrambled off the bed, my pulse roaring in my ears. My reflection stayed where it was for a second longer before it jolted upright. As if catching up to me, I backed away until I hit the far wall. My reflection did the same. The intercom crackled. Please describe any changes in perception. My mouth was dry. My hands were shaking. I forced myself to breathe, to think. It lagged. I finally said, my reflection. It didn't move when I did. Silence. Then the intercom clicked off. I stared at the mirror, half expecting my reflection to move on its own again. It didn't. It looked normal now. Maybe I imagined it. Maybe it was exhaustion. I turned away, climbed back into bed. The sheets felt cold, almost damp. I closed my eyes and tried to ignore the sensation that I wasn't alone in the room. That was the first night. I should have left then, but I didn't. I didn't sleep that night. How could I? Every movement felt unnatural. My own body betraying me in the dim light of the small room. I tried convincing myself it was fatigue, paranoia, or a trick of the light, but I wasn't stupid. Shadows don't move on their own. At some point, exhaustion won. I woke up to a room bathed in artificial white. The overhead light never turned off, and I had no sense of time. My mouth was dry. The air hummed with a low, constant vibration I hadn't noticed before. I sat up and stared at the floor. My shadow was still there, still mine, but something was off. It was breathing. No, not breathing exactly, but expanding, contracting, shifting in a way that had nothing to do with me. My pulse hammered in my throat. I lifted a hand. It followed, but that half-second lag was worse now. Deliberate. The intercom clicked. Describe your shadow. My voice came out hoarse. It's wrong. It's slower than before. It's moving by itself. A pause. Then, do not be alarmed. This is a normal response. Normal, I snapped. What the hell kind of study is this? What did you do to me? Silence. Then, the door unlocked with a soft click. I stood, my body tense. No one entered. No instructions followed. Just an open door, yawning like a trap. I stepped forward. My shadow didn't move. I ran. The hallway was empty. No scientists. No security, just me and the steady hum of unseen machinery. The overhead lights buzzed, casting long, sterile pools of brightness against the cold floor. I glanced down. My shadow hadn't followed. It still lay in my room, frozen against the floor like a discarded thing. My stomach twisted. That wasn't how shadows worked. A flickering movement at the edge of my vision made me spin. Down the hall, a shadow pulled unnaturally, stretching along the wall in a way that ignored the angles of the light. It wasn't mine. I walked faster, then faster still. Every door I passed looked the same, windowless and marked. Was anyone else in here? Had there been other test subjects? A voice crackled over the intercom. Return to your room. I ignored it. Return to your room. The air shifted something behind me. I turned, but nothing was there. My chest tightened. My feet moved on instinct. Faster. I needed to get out. A door at the end of the hall had a red exit sign above it. My heart leapt. I ran, my breath loud in my ears. But as I reached for the handle, the hallway lights flickered, and my shadow slammed into me. I felt it, cold, solid, like a second skin wrapping around my body. I gasped, stumbling backward. My limbs stiffened, and for one horrible second, I wasn't in control. My arms twitched, moved in ways I hadn't willed. Then, it let go. I collapsed to my knees, sucking in air. My shadow, if it was still mine, was back where it belonged, stretched thin beneath me. But something was different. It wasn't lagging anymore. It was leading. The intercom buzzed again, softer this time. You've progressed to the next phase. I swallowed hard. My fingers curled against the cold floor. I had a feeling I wasn't the one being studied anymore. I sat there, my palms pressing against the icy floor, trying to steady my breath. My shadow was still, but it didn't feel like mine anymore. The intercom crackled again. You are experiencing a temporary adjustment period. Do not be alarmed. Adjustment. My voice was raw. What the hell is happening to me? Silence. I turned back toward the exit. The door was still there, but now, something about it felt off. The edges blurred, like heat waves distorting the air. I reached out, fingers brushing the metal handle. The hallway flickered. Not the lights. The space itself. For a split second, I wasn't in the hallway. I was somewhere else. A darker place, where walls pulsed, like living things, and shadows slithered, and naturally across the floor. Then it was gone. I was back in the hallway, the exit door solid beneath my hand. I stumbled away from it, chest heaving. My shadow rippled beneath me, as if it had seen what I had. Return to your room. The voice was softer now, almost coaxing. I shook my head. No, I'm leaving. The moment I said it, the lights overhead flared, casting my shadow long and sharp against the floor. It twitched, shifted, then it rose. I scrambled back as my own darkness peeled itself away, standing upright in front of me. It had my shape, my outline, but it wasn't me. The head tilted, mimicking the way I moved, but with an eerie delay. My pulse pounded. The shadow took a step forward. I turned and ran. The hallway stretched longer than it should have, like I was running through a nightmare where the exit never came closer. My breath hitched. My legs ached. I dared a glance over my shoulder. It was following, fast. I reached another door, any door, and yanked it open. I threw myself inside, slamming it behind me. My hands fumbled for a lock, but there was none. The room was dark, the air thick with something stale and wrong. I turned and froze. I wasn't alone. Shapes loomed in the darkness, shadows. Some standing, some crouched, all shifting unnaturally. I backed against the door, my breath coming in short gasps. The intercom crackled once more, but this time, the voice had changed. It was layered, as if more than one person asterisk or thing asterisk was speaking at once. You were never meant to leave. Wow, guys, that one still gives me chills. If you made it to the end, let me know you survived. Don't forget to smash that like button if you enjoyed the terror, and subscribe if you haven't already. We're creeping closer to that 1K goal, and your support means everything. Hit the bell so you never miss a nightmare-fueled upload. Stay spooky, stay safe, and remember, you might want to sleep with the lights on tonight. Until next time, peace out, if you can.